What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I really want to touch on 3 self-care tips to better elevate your life. The first tip is physical health. With physical health, I think it is really important to take at least 30 minutes to exercise, whether that's 15-minute walk in the morning, 15-minute walk in the afternoon, nighttime. For me, I have a dog. And I do 15-minute walk in the morning, a 15-minute walk in the afternoon, and a 15-minute walk at night. Outside from time with my dog, I do take a little bit of time to myself to do exercises, whether that's going to the gym and lifting weights for 45 minutes to an hour, whether that's doing some yoga, or maybe the Stairmaster. I try to find some time to work out for me. Another tip under physical health is eating a whole foods diet. And I hate to use the word diet, just eat, changing your lifestyle eating to whole foods. It can really make a difference. You want to ensure that you're getting your nutrition. And how you're going to do that is by incorporating the rainbow. Getting enough sleep is also a big contributing factor to physical health. I know they say that individuals should be getting at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but that was a study on men. Women on average need about 8 to 10 hours of sleep, especially as we approach our menstruation. Personally, myself, I need at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep every single night, or else I'm not myself. And that's just me. Taking breaks regularly. We need to stop and pause. I understand there's a lot to do in a day. I get it. We're all busy people. But taking a moment to breathe, to take that sip of water, to grab lunch, they are all contributing factors to a healthy lifestyle. The reason I bring it up in that way is because personally for myself, I would go all day. I would sit at my computer at the start of the day, and I worked from home, and I would sit there at the start of the day, drink my coffee. Next thing you know, it's 1 o'clock. Barely drink most of my coffee, have not had any water, any food, and it set the day up for failure. When you're not taking care of your body, it's as though you're causing physical abuse on yourself. Drink your water. Eat your breakfast. Take the time. It gets better from there. Another physical health tip would be seeing your doctor regularly. I was going to the doctor maybe once every 2 years, and that just was not working. I started now seeing my doctor every 6 months, routine checkups, and just one checkup to touch on anything that I may have missed or now want to focus on, or just have questions on, just a kind of casual conversation, just giving us some time to really go over stuff and feeling comfortable with my doctor. All right, number two is mental health. I consider mental health the same as brain health. It all starts up here. And I think it's really important to practice mindfulness minutes, whether that's 5 minutes of affirmations, whether that's 5 minutes of just complete silence and sitting with yourself. I think it's important to spend a little bit of time with you, just taking a few minutes to appreciate yourself. I think another thing that we can focus on with mental health is spending time with loved ones. When I was going through a very difficult time, I found myself, and when I say a difficult time, I had went through what seemed to be very similar to a divorce. I was with someone for a very long time, roughly 8.5, 9 years. I've known the person since I was a child, but it was difficult. It was very difficult splitting up everything we shared together. It was just a very difficult time for me. And nothing made me feel better. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what I did, whether I had that glass of wine. It just didn't matter. I didn't feel good. So what I started to do was spending more time with my siblings. And that was an outlet and that I needed to incorporate in my life. It really helped outside of, going through something like that. I think it's really important to still spend time with loved ones, whether that's once a week, once every 2 weeks. I get we're all busy, but you don't get this time back. And no one's on this planet forever. So spend time with your family. Another mental health tip would be to engage in hobbies, whether that's you starting something new. If you don't have any hobbies, you could pick up painting. You could, start focusing on puzzles. You could start fishing. You could start hiking. You could start a YouTube channel. You could, there's so many things. Pick up cooking. Explore a little more. There's so many options that don't involve a ton of money. You just have to try, reading. Try 5 minutes. Then maybe it'll be 10, 20. Another mental health tip would be to set boundaries. Setting boundaries is really big. At least for me, it is the one thing that helped me get through a lot of stuff. And what I mean by that is I started to set a boundary with going to bed on time. So I naturally go to bed now. I usually try to aim to get in my bed by 8, asleep by 8:30, 8:45, and I'm up by 5, 6 a.m. I incorporate this to ensure that I'm getting enough sleep. There's times where family would like to go out at night, and I do what's best for me, and I don't. There's other times that we can meet up that it doesn't have to involve going out for dinner. It's not a need, it's a want. We can do other things. You need to set the boundaries up for yourself. And that's just, one of mine. I don't really care what anyone has to think. It's not them living in my body. It's me. And also, the last tip I want to give is taking care of your environment. And what I mean by that is taking the time to freshen up at the end of your day. Whether that's cleaning your kitchen, cleaning your bathroom, or cleaning your living room, your bedroom, making your bed, for one. I know when I walk into my room, having my bed made makes it so much more inviting to me. Do what you think helps you get through it. Whatever makes you anxious, take care of those things. I know it's hard with time, but instead of spending 30 minutes on Facebook scrolling, take that time for yourself. Instead of watching that Netflix video, take the time for yourself. Okay, now number 3. And this is kind of like a range of different stuff that I think is important to touch on with self-care tips, is getting organized, which is also a part of taking care of your environment. When you are organized, you're more prepared. So for me, for instance, my closet was a hot mess, a hot mess. And it was hard to find what I was looking for. And I decided one day I'm going to go ahead and go through my closet, go through all my pants, all my shirts, figure out what fit, what didn't fit. If it didn't work, it had to go. Clearing the clutter, getting organized, going with what really works for me in this moment. Another tip would be to take time away from social media, from your phone. I found that when I stepped away from my phone, really what I was doing, I wasn't using my phone first thing in the morning. I'd get up, leave my phone right where it was after I turned my alarm off. I'd go out and walk my dog. I'd come back and make coffee and breakfast. After I had that, I would then look at my phone. So that's probably about like an hour and a half in. And that time was so refreshing. I think when you take time away from the cell phone and all the rushed things going on the cell phone can make such a difference overall in our mental health, in our physical health and overall well-being. We don't feel pressured. Another tip would be to set realistic goals. An example of this could be, I want to lose 40 pounds in 2 months. That's not really realistic. Sure, I want to lose 40 pounds in 2 months too. But realistically, health wise, it's not a good idea. Start slow, Maybe I could lose 5 pounds in 2 months and keep the 5 pounds off. Aim for that. Reach it. Then add another 5 pounds. I want to lose another 5 pounds, and then another 5 pounds, and then another 5 pounds. Then look at it. A year later, you're down 20 pounds. You should be proud of yourself. That's a realistic goal. Another realistic goal outside of the body could be, I want to save $10,000 in a year. How do we reach those goals? Well, how about we set up an account that it could be an online account for me. That's what I would do. I set up an online account that I don't have any cards to, any way of obtaining the money without doing a transfer that could take up to 5 days to receive. When you set something like that up, it makes you really think about if you really need it. So set the account up. Make sure it's an account where you can earn interest, at least 3.5%. The higher, the better. And figure out how you can achieve reaching the $10,000 goal in the time span you need to. If you can't do it with the income you have, set a realistic goal there. How much can you really save in that month? What can you really manage? What can you go without? You could do $700 a month, $1,000, whatever works for you and your budget. But don't set extreme goals that you know are not attainable. That's just setting yourself up for failure. And then it becomes a repetitive cycle. And the last thing I want to touch on is gratitude. Gratitude. Similar to affirmations. It's such a privilege to be here. It's such a privilege to have the health we have, to have the air we breathe, to drink the water we drink, to have all these sorts of foods available to us at the tips of our fingers. To be able to have both legs and both arms and a healthy mentality and a healthy body. Practice grace, practice gratitude. It really is a privilege to be here, and you should be honored. All right, you all. So that is my video for today, touching on 3 self-care tips for a healthy, better lifestyle. I know it was a lot of tips in between that, but this kind of sums it up. And I really hope this helps you. The reason I wanted to bring up these self-care tips is, again, during the time where I was going through a difficult time, I needed to focus and I needed to find a way to better myself without falling. And I felt like I was falling, and I knew if I didn't start to focus on the healthy, positive things, I was going to. And these are just the things that worked for me. Again, I hope this helps. Bye, everyone.